For round 1 of the hexagon, you're going to start with a magic circle. So wrap your yarn around your fingers, reach through, grab your loop, and make sure you're holding that tail up against the side of your circle. We're going to start with a chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And this will count as your first double crochet. We're going to add 2 more double crochets into that circle. And then you'll chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then do another 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And this will be your repeating sequence for the round. So we've got 3 double crochets. We're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And do 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And you'll keep repeating this sequence until you have a total of 6 of these 3 double crochet groups. So 1, 2, I've got 3 of them here so far. So chain 3, do 3 double crochet, chain 3, 3 more double crochet, watch your tail here. If it looks like it's going to disappear into your work, you can pull it a little bit. Just don't close up your circle yet. So I've got 1, there's 2 and 3. Let's see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I need to chain 3 and do 1 more. So 3 double crochet, so that should give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 groups of 3 double crochets. At this point, I'm going to grab that tail and pull the circle closed. So just pull on the tail until your circle has closed up. It might not close all the way because we've got so many stitches in there. So we did our final 3 double crochets here. We're going to do a chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And then slip stitch into the top of that beginning chain 3, and make sure you go under both of the loops. There we go. So that way you're going through that stitch, and we're just going to slip stitch to close our round. And that is round 1. So you should have 6 of these double crochet groups, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 chain spaces. To begin round 2, I'm changing colors, so I went ahead and tied off. And make sure you leave a long enough tail for weaving in. We're going to begin in any of the chain 3 spaces. So any of these chain 3 spaces will do. So you'll insert your hook, grab your yarn, and we'll start with a chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this chain 4 is going to count as our first triple crochet. And we're going to do 2 more triple crochets into the same chain space. So yarn over 2 times, insert your hook, bring up your loop, grab your yarn, pull through 2, grab your yarn, pull through 2, grab your yarn, and pull through 2. I'm going to do that again. Yarn over 2 times, bring up your loop, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. So this first chain 4 counts as our first one. So 1, 2, 3 triple crochets there. And now we're going to chain 2 and do 3 more triple crochets into that same chain space. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to do this in each of the chain spaces. So we'll move to this next chain space, yarn over 2 times, and put 3 triple crochet. And this one makes 3. Then you'll chain 2 and do 3 more triple crochets into that same chain space. So 3 triple crochet, chain 2, 3 triple crochet in each of your chain spaces all the way around for the remainder of the row. So I'll do 1 more here. So yarn over 2 times. There's 1, 2, and 3, chain 2, and then 3 more triple crochets into that same space. And you could do double crochets here if you wanted to, but I'm doing triples. So you'll just continue doing that in each of the chain spaces. So 3 triple crochets, chain 2, 3 triple crochets all the way around. And here I've come to the end of my round. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that beginning chain. Make sure to get under both loops. Oops, only went under one. Okay. Under both loops, and then just do a slip stitch to finish that round. And I'm going to be changing colors again, so I'm going to go ahead and tie off here. Cut the yarn. Pull that through, and there we go. That is round 2. And then don't forget to weave in those ends. If you weave them in as you're going, it'll make it a lot easier at the end. To begin round 3, I'm changing colors. So I'm going to insert my hook into any of these chain spaces here. And if you look, you've got your triple crochet chain 3, triple crochet. So into that chain space, and I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Do one more double crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, and then do 2 double crochets into that same chain space. Just like that. And between the chain spaces, we will be doing 1 double crochet in each stitch until we have reached the next chain space. So 1 double crochet into each stitch. Make sure you're going into the stitch and not underneath it. So 1 double crochet all the way across in each stitch. When you come to your chain space, you'll do 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 double crochet. So each of your chain spaces will get 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet. And then you'll do 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way across until you have reached your next chain space. And one more. There we go. Now I've reached my chain space, so I'm going to do my 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochet. And you'll continue this all the way for the remainder of the round. So in each chain space, you have 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, and then you will do 1 double crochet in each stitch all the way across until you reach your next chain space. And you'll continue this all the way around. Here I'm coming up to the end of this round. I've got one more stitch here to do. And then I will slip stitch into that first triple crochet right there, or I mean the first double crochet. Just slip stitch and tie off. Go ahead and cut my yarn. And there you have it. And it's still holding its hexagon shape. And we're ready for the next round. For round 4, we're going to get a little fancy. And we're going to switch colors, insert your hook into any of the chain spaces. And we're going to start with a chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do our 1 double crochet into that same space there. And we will finish this corner when we get back around to it. So to begin our straight edges here, we're going to skip this first stitch and double crochet into the next. Now we're going to come back to this stitch that we skipped, come in from behind, go through the stitch, grab your yarn. Oops, that was supposed to be a double crochet. Okay, so yarn over, come to this stitch that we skipped, come in from behind, grab your yarn, bring up your loop, complete the double crochet. That's going to give us a kind of a crisscross twisted stitch there. So now we're going to skip this next stitch that we didn't use. So we used this stitch here. We're going to skip this one and do a double crochet into the next. And then we're going to do a double crochet into the stitch that we skipped. So come in from behind, grab your yarn, bring up your loop, and finish your double crochet. And so we've used this one, so we're going to skip this stitch and double crochet into the next. Okay, yarn over, and then do a double crochet into the stitch that we skipped, just like that. Skip one, do one double crochet, yarn over, come back to the stitch that you skipped, and do our double crochet. And you should end up with 2 last stitches before you get to that chain space. So yarn over, skip that stitch, do your double crochet, yarn over, double crochet into the skipped stitch, and then that brings us to our corner. So we're going to do 2 double crochet, chain 1, chain 2 actually. So 2 double crochet, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochet into that same chain space. And then you'll start your crossed stitches again. So you'll skip this first stitch, double crochet into the next, and then you'll yarn over, come back to that stitch that you skipped. Remember, come in from behind, bring up your loop, and make your double crochet. Skip the next stitch, double crochet, and then double crochet into the stitch that you skipped. And then you'll continue to do that all the way around. So when you get to your chain 3, you'll do your 2 double crochet, chain 2, 2 double crochet, and for the remainder of the stitches you will skip a stitch, do your double crochet, and then come back and do a double crochet in that stitch that you skipped. And you'll keep doing that until you've reached the end of round 4. And here we've come to the end of round 4. I've done my last set of crossed stitches here, and we've come back to this chain space that we began in. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 double crochet into that chain space, and chain 2, and then double crochet or slip stitch into the top of that first double crochet here to finish off your round, and then you will tie off and cut your yarn. And that is the hexagon. And these crossed stitches just give it that extra little bit of something. If you don't want to do the crossed stitches, you could just do one double crochet into each stitch if you wanted to, but the cross stitches really does give it that extra little something. So there you go. That is how to do a hexagon.